Thanks for joining us today, Chief. First, what are some ways that airmen can distinguish themselves in order to earn some Firewall 5s? And secondly, will failing to earn a 5 prevent an airman from being recognized for awards or promotions?
Well, it is true that the Air Force enterprise-wide is going to a new promotion system. We're eliminating the need for a shop supervisor to juggle various anniversary dates, change the reporting, official report requirements. Everybody now will be getting an EPR on a static closeout date. For chiefs, the first people subject to this new system will be May 31st of 2015. Now, the new system, while the form and the final version of the accompanying instruction haven't been released yet, the concept of the form, it was designed to eliminate what we classically refer to as Firewall 5s. Shop chiefs are going to be required to actually stratify the people that are working for them, and only a certain percentage of each rank are going to be able to achieve that highest level. So the more important part of this question is how we're going to distinguish yourself from everybody else amongst your peers to get these highest ratings. All the answers you need are right here in the 362618, the little brown book. It discusses what an enlisted member of the Air Force needs to do at each tier of their career to operate at an optimal level. In addition to fulfilling these requirements, there are certain things you could do, like promptly complete your PME, earn your CCAF and other degrees of advanced learning, attend the Delaware Leadership Academy to gain a greater understanding of how our unit operates and what part we play in the national spectrum, and also to do things like take an active role in leadership and mentorship in your unit, volunteerism in your community, and work hard. And I would suggest that if you can operate at what this says is the optimal level, you reach higher and start making yourself operate at the next higher level, showing that you're ready for promotion, ready for increased responsibilities, and that's how you're going to distinguish yourself.
Chief, I don't have to tell you that in-residence slots for PME, especially for courses like ALS, are hard to come by for Guards members. Is there anything being done in order to increase the number of allocated slots for members of the Guard and Reserve?
Yes, it is true that PME slots are hard to come by. Your Air National Guard leadership is well aware of that and are actively working to remedy that situation. Typically, this past year, there are about 3,200 seats a year available for in-residence ALS. This past year, 700 of those seats were allocated to National Guard personnel. Through negotiations and looking at the bigger picture, this coming fiscal year, 1,000 seats will actually be physically allocated to the Air National Guard. There are also communications underway between the Command Chief of the Air National Guard, the Active Duty Command Chief of the Air Force, Chief Cody, to offer additional seats as they're available in regional ALS courses. And that really is coming to fruition, because within the last 2 months, we had offered an additional eight seats at the Dover ALS Academy. So efforts are being made. You know, in speaking to the base education and training manager, he told me last year Delaware was allocated 7 seats for ALS in residence. And he told me that everybody who applied did in fact get a seat. So I would encourage everybody to make sure that they fulfill the application process. I also know that right now there's an open enrollment period for the Senior NCO Academy for FY16. Currently, my review of training records across the base show that there are 92 Master Sergeants who have not completed the Senior NCO Academy. My challenge to you, Master Sergeants, is to at least make my job difficult. Give me at least 46 application packets that I'm going to have to stratify and submit to NGB headquarters. Chief Peters has set the date of April 23rd as a cutoff date to achieve those packages. If you have any questions about how to do that, contact me or Chief Peters. We'll be happy to walk you through the process.
Chief, I already have a bachelor's, and I know plenty of guys who have masters. What benefit is there to us in getting our CCAF degrees?
That's really a simple answer. Getting your CCAF degree allows you to be promoted to Senior Master Sergeant or Chief Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force. Look, folks, the discussion's been had, the decision's been made that that's going to be a requirement to get promoted to the higher ranks in our Air Force. There has been some talk and discussion about increasing the course catalog to allow a greater number of courses to be accepted in lieu of the public speaking course that commonly hangs people up. The next publishing of the CCAF catalog is going to include 6 more courses that are traditionally accepted at traditional universities in pursuit of degrees to help alleviate some of that requirement for you, and the process is constantly being reviewed. You know, if you go to the Delaware Leadership Academy and you learn all about military history and how the Army and the Air Force works, or you graduate from Wilmington University with a degree in military science, that still doesn't relieve you of completing your PME obligations. All right, it's a requirement. Don't get yourself hung up on what your degree is worth. The requirement is very simple. It's laid out. If you want to get promoted, this is one box you're going to have to fill in the United States Air Force.
Chief, as a traditional guardsman, what are some tips you have for those who are having a hard time balancing their military and civilian commitments?
I can tell you that I really feel this question. You know, working in the position that I'm working in here militarily and my position as a local chief of police, I'm often pulled in several directions at the same time. So it's a very good question to be asked. You know, a lot of times I hear people speak about achieving balance in their lives, and I stop to think, what does that really mean? Does that mean that I'm going to give 8 hours every day to the military, and 8 hours every day to my civilian employer, and 8 hours every day to my family? I don't really think so. Actually, I'm reading a book right now called The One Thing by Gary Keller that talks a little bit about this illusion of achieving complete balance in your life. It's more or less managing the imbalance. So putting the appropriate effort forth to do a good job or be an effective family member is more important. Managing the time, it's very hard. The way you could do that well is with some prior planning. I remember back to the first time I was told I was going to deploy, I had 23 hours notice. I wish I knew then what I knew now. I would have had my will and my power of attorney and people prepared at my civilian employer to fill in the gaps that were going to occur when I was gone. The bottom line is the best thing that you could do is to know what your rights are under USERRA and communicate with your employer and your family so there aren't any surprises. If you're going to deploy and there's a time where you're going to be absent from the workplace that you could see on the horizon, communicate that to your employer and your family. It'll help ease the transition and it'll make it a lot easier for you to reintegrate when you come back.